Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. Today is a video that I think is well worth watching because if you haven't paid attention to this saga, um, really no big deal. It's not that serious, but this is a thing of beauty. All right, all right, all right. Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what. The New York Mets, they got real gay over the weekend. Flying pride flags and saluting, and guys kissing. Not the teammates, at least not that I'm aware of, but people in the stands and all kinds of degeneracy and all of that kind of thing. Well, they haven't won since, and I, for one, I'm here for it. You know what I mean? They don't deserve to win. There you go. It's as simple as that. I was a fool to think, even for a moment. Now, when I thought about it after the moment happened, I knew that it wasn't true. But last year, I felt like, for a couple days, that maybe we had exorcised the demons of playing in Atlanta with that game 161 victory to make the playoffs. And but of course, after that, you got away from it for a little while. I knew we hadn't yet. And last night, man, what a brutal game. Absolutely brutal. No matter how bad the Braves are, it's never going to be easy to beat the Braves. It's as simple as that. And we'll see. We'll see if the Mets ever win again. I mean, I'm not counting on it. I'll tell you that right now. But I'll tell you what, there was one guy in Major Leagues that kept it hetero on Pride Weekend. That was Clayton Kershaw. Of course, they forced him to wear the rainbow hat, which he did wear, but he put, the Genesis verse about the rainbow, the covenant that God makes. So people were really mad at him, but he kept it hetero, and he threw 7 scoreless innings. So there you go. There you go. Anyway, let's get to the real meat of this. Man, this is a really funny situation. I saw this letter last night that was, being shared and celebrated by
Eli McGoowan.
Eli McGowan. Yeah, I often forget that he exists, but here, I'm going to remember again. And this was about the campaign, if you will, that Eli McGowan has teamed up with Dr. James White to dox somebody and to get him in trouble, because honestly, like, if there's more to this, guys, let me know in the comment section. But as far as I can tell, and I'm not going to spend any more time looking into it, of course, but if you want to tell me, you let me know. But as far as I can say, his big sins were that he recommended that Dr. White say no homo when he says questionable things. That's the whole thing with the no homo joke. I'll explain the joke to you. Maybe you don't understand. I'll tell you about it. Sometimes people don't understand. I got to explain it to them. So if I were to say something like this to a friend of mine, hey, man, I really like that tie, or your suit looks real sharp, man. Well, you could take that in a gay way if you wanted to, right? So what I would say is, hey, man, you're looking really sharp today. No homo. You know what I mean? And it's just a funny little joke. It's like, obviously, I wasn't saying that I like you. I was just saying your suit looks good. But you put no homo at the end of it just to assert your heterosexuality. It's a kind of a joke. It's all in good fun. Whatever. And so, Dr. White had said something about seeing someone's smile. I think it was either Doug Wilson or Michael Brown. I mean, who knows? But Defiant Baptist said, Dr. White, when you say you like a guy's smile, or you're thinking about a guy's smile, maybe you should put the no homo disclaimer at the end. It was just a funny, kind of joke. Well, Dr. White flew off the handle. And I would say that 90% of Dr. White's anger about what goes on Twitter is Dr. White not understanding what's going on Twitter. And that's not a knock against him. I mean, look, he didn't grow up in the same time period that I grew up. He probably has never played Call of Duty. But you spend enough time in a Call of Duty chat room, you kind of understand what's going on the internet a little bit better. And so Dr. White, he often misses what's going on the internet, and he lets, and that's okay. I mean, obviously, my father probably doesn't understand what's going on the internet, either. But there's a difference between my father and Dr. White. My father doesn't let it get under his skin. You know what I mean? He probably just scrolls. He sees something he doesn't understand, no cap FR, and he just probably continues scrolling if he's on there, looking for pictures of his grandkids. So, but Dr. White doesn't. I mean, he doesn't. He never lets it go. So he freaked out, saying how it was inappropriate joke, sexual, dirty jokes, crass, it's a sin, evil. We got to dox him. Blah 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 blah. That was the one thing, and then there was one other thing that I saw that that got people all upset, and I guess it was, and maybe I'm wrong about this, but it was like Defiant Baptist saying that he has more in common theologically with Stone Choir than he does with like James Lindsay, an atheist, which is obviously true. I mean, me too. It's as simple as that. I mean, I've got a lot more in common with Stone Choir than I do with James Lindsay, theologically speaking. That's an obvious, correct statement. On the one hand, one doesn't believe in God, his existence is so obvious that it's unbelievable that anyone would claim to deny him, and the other one does. I mean, that just fact enough is enough to know that I've got more in line theologically with Stone Choir than I do with James Lindsay. Well, they can't have that. Of course, you can't say anything positive about Stone Choir, otherwise you're a neo-Nazi, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Who cares, right? Who cares? But those are the two big crimes, I think, of Defiant Baptist. Yeah, of course, he's memes and he's anon and all that kind of stuff too. But anyway, so that's enough that you got to get him, got to dox him. You got to get him kicked out of any position of leadership he has. He offended the great James White, who didn't understand even what was being said. But whatever, it doesn't matter. And so there's been a campaign to dox the guy, and so this is really funny, guys. If you're bored of what I'm saying, lock in right now. Now's the time to lock in, because Eli shared this letter from allegedly Defiant Baptist's church, and it's a very long letter. I'm not going to read it. Feel free to read it because it's very, very good. And I got to say, whoever wrote this letter, let me just tell you, it's a fake letter. It's a fake letter, but it looks really real. I mean, I'm not even just talking about the way that it's on, letterhead, right? Ooh, that's really official when it's on letterhead. That's how you know it's really from the church, right? I'm not even saying that. What I'm saying is the way it's written is like Big Eva speak to a T. It is absolutely brilliant. You know what I mean? And I wouldn't be surprised if ChatGPT wrote this, because ChatGPT can mimic the style of a Big Eva, mega church very easily. If you've ever done it before, go to ChatGPT and tell them to write a story about something wild, but do it in the voice of Tim Keller. And it'll do it, and it's so good. It sounds perfect. But anyway, this talks about how he's being suspended from teaching roles, Defiant Baptist, and this and that. And it ends the letter, it says, "Your support and prayers are deeply valued." It would have been better if it said coveted, to be honest, but I'm not gonna nitpick this thing, because this is beautiful. This is an absolutely beautiful troll, and my hat's off to whoever did this. I think it's Defiant Baptist himself who did this, which is really funny. But anyway, your supports and prayers are deeply valued as we move forward. Let us unite in seeking God's guidance, trusting that He will lead us through this season with wisdom and clarity. We will provide further communication upon the conclusion of the investigation as significant developments arise. Thank you for your faithfulness to our shared calling. Prayerfully, the Deacon Board. I like this. I like the idea of the Deacon Board, as an investigative body. That's a service. That's a service. You get the Deacon Board involved. I think there should be deacon investigators. You know what I mean? You should be trained in the art of investigation. I'm willing to offer my services to any Deacon Board that wants to learn about investigation. In any case, and then, of course, there was a follow-up that, Defiant Baptist refused to cooperate with the investigation, the very serious investigation of him using the joke no homo, and, admitting the very obvious fact that he's got more in common with Stone Choir theologically than he does with James Lindsay. Anyway, so this came out, and Eli McGoowan was so happy, very impressed with the church for doing church discipline on this evil pagan, you know what I mean? And then Dr. White even shared it, was very happy, very pleased with himself that Defiant Baptist got what was coming to him. And I saw this first from J.D. Hall, and then Defiant Baptist shares that. He says, "Get bent, Eli McGoowan and Dr. James White." And if you look at the letter, hidden in the first word of each paragraph is a little message, and it's an acrostic poem. This is so stupid, but it's good. It's very good. You put a secret code here, FAKE. That spells the word fake, and then GAY, and that spells the word gay. Very perfect for Pride Month. And then, of course, on the follow-up letter, it puts "You're Eli," URELI, because Eli's the one that's allegedly spearheading the campaign to, get Defiant Baptist docs, whatever. Very good troll. Everyone was so happy, Defiant Baptist got his comeuppance. People were celebrating. We had that Brian saying, "This is great. This is fantastic as well. Well done. Well done." We got all the usual suspects that were jumping all over this, talking about how great it was that Defiant Baptist was removed from leadership for using a no homo joke, and not even using it really, just suggesting that maybe you should use the no homo joke when you say something that is borderline. And again, it doesn't have to be really borderline. You know what I mean? Again, go back to the nice suit reference. I tell a guy, nice suit, you might say no homo after that. I mean, maybe not, but you could if you wanted to. It's a funny little joke, and everyone kind of chuckles. It's very funny. Very funny. Wow, I got to say, this is a tremendous troll. And I got to say, this also is a very good lesson for people when you're dealing with idiots on the internet, right? Eli McGoowan, idiot on the internet. It's as simple as that. And, he's gonna come after you. He's going to try to, dox you. He's going to try to cancel you and all this kind of stuff. And what a lot of people do, what normal people do, is they get really defensive over it. They try to cancel the doxing, cancel the canceling. They try to fight back. My recommendation is to not fight back. You know what I mean? Whatever. I mean, they're going to do what they're going to do. Who cares, right? What can they really do to you? But if you're going to respond, don't respond seriously. Don't respond seriously. I remember I learned this lesson a long, long time ago. And it was when I was under the tutelage of Jared C. Wilson. That's right. That's who taught me to do what I do. Jared C. Wilson. If you don't like who I am, then you can go and ask Jared C. Wilson, why did you make him the way he is? That's what you should say. You know what I mean? Because he taught me everything I know. Kind of in a negative way, though. Like, he taught me what not to do. But still, he taught me, And there was a time when Jared C. Wilson had favorably quoted Doug Wilson. He favorably quoted Doug Wilson when he was saying something about men and women. And, instantly the feminists started screeching, and instantly Jared C. Wilson caved and said, I'm sorry for any offense that I might have caused. That's a serious response to it. I learned that very day that you should never do that. Never do that. You don't apologize, number one. And on number two, if you're going to respond, it's got to be in a way like this, where it's obviously you don't take it seriously. This is a lesson. This is a funny, stupid, who cares kind of thing, but it's a funny lesson. It's a good lesson for you. When they come after you, they try to cancel you, blah blah blah. You either ignore it, or you respond in a funny way, or you can respond in a nice way. That's what I often do when Dr. White says something mean about me, which he has numerous times. Dr. White has not been very nice to me. But when I respond to him, I don't get all mad, you know what I mean? I just respond to him and I say, hey, man, I like you. What's your problem with me? I like you. You know what I mean? That's another way to respond. You kill him with kindness. But this is a good lesson, And I'm not saying, look, most of us don't have time to write a letter like this or a secret code like this. Although, again, I'm assuming this was written in ChatGPT because, in ChatGPT, you can do this in about 5 seconds. And it doesn't take any time at all and all of that kind of thing. But I got to say, I'm impressed. I'm impressed with the response here. This has been very good. And, just as a sign of support, let me just recommend that you go over to Defiant Baptist's Twitter feed and give him a quick follow. I mean, he's earned it. He's earned it. He accomplished a very funny, very lighthearted joke in response to people coming at him in a very serious way. And nothing bothers a guy like Eli McGoowan more than not being taken seriously. That is the kryptonite for a lot of these guys. And when they're not taken seriously, they freak out. They don't like it. They can't believe it. They can't believe that everyone is so evil and pagan except for them and all of this kind of thing. It's wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. So wonderful. Hats off to you. What a tremendous troll. And, that's all I have to say today. Let me know what you guys want me to do. I saw some people say that there was a Ruslan interview with David Platt, which, looked kind of interesting. Maybe I'll go into that. That could be good. That old school AD content where I just talk about a video. That would be good. I remember I had some conversation with Ruslan about David Platt at one point on text. He was talking about all that. But yeah, man, let me know what you guys want me to do next, and I'll strongly consider it. In any case, I hope you found this video helpful. God bless.
Es puro fuego, fuego, puro fuego es mi amor por ti.
You're not even gonna be able to imagine the places I'm going,
You're
okay?
going nowhere, because you got nothing.
You know what I got. You just can't deal with the fact that I beat you.
Oh, yeah? What have you got? Huh? What have you got?
You know what I've got.
Let me ask you something, Jack. When did you start thinking you were better than me? Huh? You still there, Ace?
Okay. Nicely done. Nicely done. Now let's talk about this.
Okay, let's see. How'd you put it? Deal with it? It's over?
No. I don't think so. You want me to list the ways I can burn you? We either work this out right now, or I will take you down.
Oh, yeah? How? My shop, my tools, they're gone. Me, my friend, I'm just a tax-paying jazz club owner. You? He's gonna be looking for you right about now.
So if I were you, I'd quit making threats and hit the road. Nice working with you, Ace.
Okay, bye-bye.